G'day there guys, in your opinion, how much Markee is too much Markee, and why? It's your main man Markee, and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn of the barbie, and get ready for some good stuff today. Thank you. Posted by user HackRiderPoser, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my mum she could hold her grandchild at my funeral? So, I, 28 female, cannot have kids without death or serious injury, and passionately do not want them. Nor does my husband. And no, before anyone assumes we're kid-hating monsters, we don't dislike kids. We have a combined total of 8 nieces and nephews, all of whom we love dearly. They just can't live in our house. My mother, bless her heart, is currently infected with baby rabies. Her friends keep getting grandkids, and the best I'm willing to do is dogs. Yesterday, I was talking on the phone with my mum, and she casually brings up how nice it would be to have a baby around. Now, I have a policy for people trying to pry about my reproductive affairs, and that policy is to make them as unfrickin' comfortable as I can so they never ask again. My mum has never been on the receiving end, but she has seen me do it. The first time I'm like, nah, too much work and they don't even get cute for like 3 years. Puppies are born cute and stay cute. But she kept pressing, saying things like, dogs won't love you like kids do. And here's where I may be the a-hole. I snapped and said, well, if you want a baby that bad, I can make sure to put it in my will that you can hold it through my funeral. My mum just made a noise like a mouse being stepped on and hung up on me. She's now refusing to answer any of my text messages about anything. I might have overreacted just a little, and she is my mum. So, am I the a-hole? And edit, yes, my mum knows about the health conditions. Yes, my mum knows about the health conditions. I was born with them, and they've worsened over time. Edit 2, I'm very transparent about not being able to have and not wanting kids, but I do love the kids in my life. I get why you did it, in all honesty. I just think that sometimes you don't have to be so blunt with people. I know I've advocated for that in the past, but usually people will get off your back when you don't give them what they want, and you just give it time. I do agree what you said was hurtful, and even you admit you were going for a reaction there, since you say she's seen you do it to people before. But in saying that, you did present her with the reality of the situation should you ever have a child. So maybe then this is just a case of the truth hurts, and she couldn't handle the truth in that moment, so she just hung up. I mean, I can't particularly blame her for that. At the end of the day, it's no huge drama. You guys seem to be doing okay and not ending all relation with each other, so I'm gonna go not the a-hole for this one. Now in the comments, Sincerely Sinclair says, not the a-hole. You tried handling this with tact. Your mother pursued the topic, and you told her exactly what would happen should you decide to ever have children. You would die. I don't see what she has to complain about when there are 8 other children running around. Why does she need a baby from you? And OP replies, I'm her only biological kid. She won't feel like a grandma till I pop one out, apparently. Wow, that's very cold. Do your siblings know the stance that your mother has taken regarding biological grandchildren? And OP replies, no. My mum dotes on my siblings' kids. She adores them really. Part of the 8 total are on my husband's side, and I have 2 half-siblings that I didn't meet until I was 23, and they have kids. I'm concerned that she won't feel like a grandma until you have one. What does that say about the other kids? She loves them. I think she just wants a grandchild that she doesn't have to share. Presumably, even if you were to ever have kids, your spouse would have parents or some form of adult figure. Wouldn't she have to share then? I don't know. I just think she wants some that are hers. Boomers, man, what can you do? Ah, I see. Your mum never stopped thinking of you as her possession / an extension of herself, so any kids you have would thus also belong to her. not like individual humans with free will and autonomy. For the record, this isn't boomer nonsense. This is narcissist nonsense. My boomer mother totally gets why I don't want kids. She's a tad disappointed because grandkids are fun, but she recognizes she does not have a right to them. Let your mum be mad. Don't play into her silent treatment BS by contacting her. Let her get over it herself and then reach out to you. You can apologize for being harsh only after she apologizes first. I'm on the same boat as you, so I'm going with a firm not the a-hole. What is it with people not respecting someone's choices on not having kids? Just because we are made to reproduce does not mean that we should have to. The thing I hate most about people who don't accept the no are those who say, "Oh, you're young. Wait for your biological clock to kick in. Okay, Bob, whatever you say." I'm going with not the a-hole on this one. Yes, it was over the top, but I salute your willingness to commit to something like that. She's your mum, and she's seen you deal with this in the past, so I don't get how and why she would think it would go any other way, and why she would twist the knife into you for something that more than likely hurt like hell when you learned it. And OP replies, "It hurt a lot initially. I was devastated, because in the area where I live, people usually start having kids pretty young, and everything has to be kid-friendly. But about the time the nephew started coming, I realized that I really dislike taking care of babies. And by the time I got to college, I discovered how much fun it is to be the cool wine aunt. That helped, but every so often it still hurts, especially when my mum presses the issue." And I left out the last edit in this one at the end here because I feel like it's a good way to give you guys some closure with this one. It's just edit. So a couple of things here. 1. Thank you all so much for the awards and the kind feedback. I appreciate it. I did not expect this to blow up like it did. 2. My mum did message me back and apologized. She would also like us to come around at 12 p.m. to tidy up the yard, and she's going to pay us with lunch and beer. So I guess that's one way to round the story out, but I don't know. Do you guys like how this one ended? Do you feel like that's a good resolution? Our next post is by user Dense Position 8159, titled, "Am I the a-hole for going above my son's teacher after she asked him if he was gay?" So my son is 13 and is quirky. It's easy to confuse a 13-year-old boy who isn't really into sports and more into Greek literature as being effeminate. He is also a late bloomer. Given these circumstances in middle school, it's very easy to be labeled as being gay. As his dad, I'm pretty sure he will be straight. He has a few issues with some classmates that's more related to personality conflicts. Those same classmates are your average middle school a-holes who are a-holes to everyone. It doesn't rise up to the standard of bullying. Long story short, my son's teacher noticed this and wanted to discuss it with him. My son said he didn't care, and his teacher went off about how people shouldn't treat him like that because he's different. My son was very confused, and his teacher asked, "Well, you're queer, aren't you?" My son came home crying over it, and the comment was made within an earshot of another kid who laughed. Now, that is bullying. I emailed the teacher, who quickly turned it into me, saying that he was concerned that my son wasn't getting the support at home if he was queer, and was being bullied at school over it. I told him my son's sexuality was none of his business. He apologized and asked to meet with me and my son personally to apologize in person. I thought about it and decided an apology wasn't enough. There needed to be accountability, and this teacher needed to be taught a lesson himself. I went to the principal, who was pretty livid after spending a few days looking into the matter. She wouldn't say what the outcome was, but the teacher was MIA, and I heard he got suspended for a couple of days. And edit, for people who are asking me how I know if my son is straight, it's a moot point. The real point is that his sexuality is none of his teacher's business. Furthermore, if he thought my son was being bullied or harassed, then he should have gone to me instead of taking matters into his own hands. The teacher didn't see my son getting beaten up or even called a name. What he saw was my son being different than most of the other boys in his class and concluded that he must be queer or gay or whatever. I think absolutely the teacher was being inappropriate here, and they didn't do the right thing in this situation, absolutely. I do think they deserved to be MIA and whatever happens as a result of it, because this seems like unacceptable behavior. But as is going to be beaten like a dead horse, you can't just assume your son's sexuality, especially at 13. That's really weird and creepy, and the answer you should give is, I don't know his sexuality. And then you leave it at that because, man, what the hell? So for going above your son's teacher after she asked him if he was gay, I'd say not the a-hole for that one, but I don't know. I get a bad vibe from you, so I'm gonna have to go with everyone sucks here for this one. Now in the comments, Master Blaster says, everyone sucks here. The teacher sucks the most, and what he did was incredibly inappropriate. He should have found a way to signal to all potential LGBTQIA+ questioning students that he was an ally without directly confronting your son. When I taught, I made it very open and clear that I'm supportive of the gay community and trans rights by simply asking the students for their pronouns and preferred names on their classroom surveys. Lo and behold, I had students coming out to me, sharing about their personal home issues, etc. It should always be the student who approaches the teacher to discuss these issues, never the other way around. That said, I'm also giving you an a-hole rating, but a gentle one. You've stated that the classmate's previous behavior doesn't rise to the level of bullying, but it sounds like it did. You've also said that it's easy to confuse your son as gay, and that you're pretty sure that he will be straight because you're his father? What? These comments suggest the tiniest hint of homophobia. He's already gay or straight or bi or whatever, he's just still figuring it out like every other kid his age. The comment about how it's easy to confuse him as gay is pretty loaded with stereotypes and assumptions. Gay people come in all kinds of forms. I know a lot of MASC gay men who are into sports. One was a professional athlete. If you're saying stuff like that around the house, he may feel like it wouldn't be acceptable to come out to you, or he may convince himself that he is gay because he fits into the gay stereotype more than the straight one. Also, if the teacher truly believed your son may not have the support he needs to come out, I would take a moment to reflect on why the teacher felt that way. Their actions were inappropriate, but it's quite possible that your son has made some statements alluding to a fear of being gay, or had some other reaction that concerned the teacher. I don't think that you're a monster, and it seems clear to me that you love your son, but I would consider that his reaction to his teacher might warrant a conversation where you let him know that he will always be supported in your home no matter who he loves. And edit, OP's responses make it pretty clear that he is homophobic and would struggle to accept his son if he turns out to be gay. I totally understand why the teacher had these concerns now. And OP replies, you sound like the teacher. Your worldview is reality when it's all about power. You sound like a person in denial of their own faults. Don't go to Reddit for advice if you cannot handle criticism. What the hell is wrong with you? This commenter took their time to post this incredibly insightful and empathetic comment, and you chose to go for this semi-personal trip? Wow. And OP replies, still none of his business. Dude, you're the one who came to Reddit for judgment and advice. What did you expect? Everyone sucks here. This reeks of you being enraged at the thought that someone suggested your son is gay, and you punished the teacher for even suggesting it. The teacher may not have approached this in the best way, but at least he was willing to stand up and say something that to a struggling queer child may have been a godsend. And OP replies, I couldn't care less if my son is gay, but that's not his teacher's business. So let's flip this around then. Your son is gay and being bullied. The teacher sees the behavior but doesn't say or do anything. Would that be okay? Or would that non-action violate whatever anti-bullying policy the school has? Apples and oranges. Say my son was gay. Are you saying the teacher outing him would be an effective way of ending bullying? If my son was being bullied for any reason, then his teacher should bring it to my attention first, notwithstanding my kid being beaten up. I would never go to a parent first. Too many of them respond poorly. I'm emailing a guidance counselor so they can handle this far more gently than I ever could in a classroom. Our next post is by user Affectionate Cover 49, titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to share baby stuff with my stepsister because we're never going to know each other as sisters? Title might sound bad. So my stepsister and I have been in each other's lives since we were 2, me, and 3, her. For the first decade, we primarily lived with each other in the household with our married parents. She saw her mum on occasion, but in general, lived with me, mum, stepdad. The times she was with her mum were pretty terrible because she would come back adamant to reject and hurt me. One time she told me she hoped I would die, so her dad would let her live with her mum. My stepdad had her in therapy. Most of our time together was spent with some form of supervision because of how she treated me. When she was 15, she decided to go live with her mum and cut me off, even going to the length of ignoring me in school and acting like I didn't exist. When she was 19, she started speaking to my stepdad and mum again, and over time, me. But she never really stopped being passive-aggressive about us not being related. She would say that I was her dad's stepkid, or say that I was someone she knew through family when talking to other people. I admit it was hard because we could have been sisters, but she didn't want that or was taught not to want it. As luck would have it, we're now both pregnant at the same time. She's due about 3 weeks after me, and she's been trying to be all buddy-buddy, whilst also saying things like, they're never going to know each other as cousins, and it's not like we're real sisters. So I think she's mostly trying to get free stuff. I ended up with a surplus of clothes because my partner has a huge family, and they all gave us a ton of newborn clothes. My stepdad was helping me box stuff up, and he mentioned it to my stepsister who wanted them. I said no. She said that it was catty of me to say no when I had too many to use. I told her I had already promised some to a friend, which was true. She told me, family trumps friends. I said, we're never going to know each other as sisters, so we're not really family. And she laughed, but then told my stepdad what I said. He told me the fact she was asking said she was maybe ready to move forward. I told him it's not true, but am I wrong? Am I the a-hole? I don't think you're all that petty or childish to have said that. Having a relationship with her was a childhood dream of yours after all, and she continuously and unashamedly stomped all over that dream time and time again. She's conscious of the fact that she's been a terrible person all your life, and is now trying to manipulate you for free clothes of all things. She sounds like a complete loser to me, and I don't know why you're giving her the time of day. He's only saying maybe she was ready to move forward because he doesn't want to get involved. He knows it'll create conflict and drama and pitch him against her, which he obviously doesn't want to do. Your stepdad wants to stay in everyone's good books, and asking you to share those clothes whilst completely dismissing your entire history with her is such a stupid, but I guess in a way understandable thing for him to do. It's no excuse. I can't excuse that behavior, but it does explain why he did it. His input seems like the crux of why you came to ask this question, and I just say ignore him. OP, you're not wrong for feeling the way you feel. Just don't give her the clothes and continue to have a strong backbone. Not the a-hole. Now in the comments, AITA Cruel World says, not the a-hole. Don't give her a thing. She's being manipulative. Yup. She can't treat you like crap for so long and then try to be all, let's be friends. That's dumb. Don't give her the baby's clothes. Find a way to make it clear to your stepdad that she just wants stuff from you and tell him about her previous comments. Not the a-hole. Exactly. If she really wanted to be family and put her past behind her, she would first apologize, then try to build a relationship without trying to get free stuff from you to prove she's sincere. She's only after your stuff, not the a-hole. Exactly this. How can someone genuinely want to move forward but never acknowledge how they wronged you and apologize? Especially when you take into account that she was still saying that her and OP aren't real sisters, and their babies wouldn't know one another as cousins. So this is all very recent, at least within the last couple months. Now she wants to turn around and claim family ties when there's stuff to be had for free? Nope. Tell her to keep that same energy she's had all this time. And if her dad says something, ask him why he's okay with her clear attempts to use you for free stuff. Because she has still been saying things along the lines of y'all not being family until she thought there was something to gain. Not the a-hole. Yeah, and why should the dad excuse stepsister for continually reminding OP they're not family, but tell OP she's in the wrong for not sharing her items? Stepsister is a major a-hole. She's an adult who has carried over her mean behavior from childhood and is now trying to use her bullying victim for gain. I can just imagine how she's going to talk to her kids about OP's kid. Her mother did it and screwed her up, now she'll repeat the pattern because she still hates OP. OP should just keep her distance for self-preservation and to keep toxicity out of her child's life. For real, her mum must have been spewing some serious bile. 2-year-olds don't just hate other kids for no reason. That's learned behavior. Not the a-hole. She's clearly trying to play you and your stepdad off against each other. This is a sad situation. It's obvious that her mother has been teaching her to hate you all her life, probably to get back at your stepdad for leaving, and now your stepsister's an adult, she either hasn't figured this out or can't be bothered to do anything about it. But that's not your issue. Regardless of the cause, she's a deeply toxic person for you to be around, and you're fully justified in limiting your contact with her as much as possible. Hopefully, she'll realize what's going on here and what it's costing her, and do the work to deal with her toxicity. I wouldn't count on it though. Also, she laughed when OP said no, like it was so ridiculous that OP would try to say no or go against her. She then, like you said, tried to pit OP and stepdad against each other. OP, I would tell your dad that whether you forgive her or not is up to you, and even if she's ready to move on, you may not be. That doesn't make you an a-hole. That makes you human beings because your feelings are valid. That doesn't make you an a-hole because she's trying to play the sisters card when she completely cut you off as family and treated you like you were invisible. So her trump card is useless to you because she alienated herself from you and now you don't consider her family. I would also mention to your stepdad that when he's not around, she still treats you horribly. Just because he doesn't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. Hence, there was a reason why you two were supervised growing up, so it doesn't happen in private / less likely to happen. If your stepdad still gives you hell, tell him he's welcome to get her some clothes, but she alienated you first, and that you own those clothes, and so you get to decide if she gets some or not. Hell, OP, if your significant other is on your side / has seen how she has treated you, get him to back you up. He gets a decision in this too, and when it's 2 against 1, she has even less power. Stepdad doesn't count in this because this issue is between you and your stepsister. Also something important to consider. OP, if he is helping box stuff and she's also around, be careful that she doesn't try to swipe anything, because in my opinion, that doesn't sound too far-fetched with her description. I also would be wary of your stepdad feeling guilted by her and gifting her some baby clothes on behalf of you to try to make things better between you two. I don't know if that's in his character per se, but she does seem to be able to manipulate him to some extent. Anyway, congrats on the pregnancy and good luck. And our next post is by user Am I the A-hole pregnant shirt, titled, Am I the a-hole for making fun of a heavily pregnant woman's shirt? Hi all, I'm a nurse and one of the senior doctors at my department really hates me. She calls me stupid, berates me, and calls me an idiot in front of patients and other staff members, and even makes fun of my clothes when I change out of my work stuff. Doctor is heavily pregnant and is on maternity leave. However, she came in today to drop off some paperwork, as well as to have a catch-up with some of the colleagues before she gives birth. I will admit that as much as I hate her, Doctor is a very stylish woman. She wears these gorgeous suits or work dresses and designer heels and everything. She does have very good taste. I had no interest in seeing her when she showed up, but I went into the staff room for my break when Doctor was chatting to some of the others, and she loudly said, "Ugh," when she saw me. Doctor didn't look like her usual self. She was wearing tracksuit bottoms and a t-shirt that belonged to her boyfriend. I've seen him wearing it when he picked her up from work a couple of times. And she's pregnant. Fair enough. However, she soon loudly asked if I was going to wear my tramp clothes when my shift ended. I think that's akin to a slutty clothes or something like that. I don't know, I kind of censor words on this. I responded, "At least my shirt fits me." This shocked everyone, and later one of the other nurses said that I was disgusting for making fun of Doctor's pregnancy and baby bump. What the hell? Okay, maybe it would have been better to just not take the bait, but I never made fun of her for being pregnant. I was making fun of her because she's normally Little Miss Fashionable and tries to make fun of my clothes, but was now stuck in her boyfriend's shirt, which was way too big for her. You say you're just fighting back because she's constantly talking down at you and shouting at you in front of the workplace, but you haven't escalated this with anyone in like HR or tried to get someone to step in and control her wickedness. I'm not one to victim blame in this situation, but surely you punching back in this scenario isn't going to make her stop punching down on you for the rest of your career with her. You sound like stupid bickering teenagers, and at the end of the day, you're the one making yourself look worse in this situation if I'm going to be honest. It seems like she has everyone on her side against you, and you punching back hasn't been effective. Please just take this one to HR and try to get her to stop harassing you like this. Everyone sucks here, but she shouldn't be such a bully to you in the first place, and I am genuinely sorry this is happening to you. Now in the comments, Drawing Goblin says, "Her behavior is inappropriate, your behavior is inappropriate. Grow up and behave like the professionals you are supposed to be. By the way, you are missing a trick here. If you really find the way she treats you to be demeaning, and she genuinely bullies you by saying things like that, spend a few weeks making a note of each comment, the exact time, and who was there to witness it. Then take it to the head of department. All large institutions have pretty ironclad anti-bullying policies, as will her professional organization. She would have to report that she was under investigation for workplace bullying, etc. Exactly. She started it, but mocking a pregnant lady for how her clothes fit is never a good look, and is kind of fodder for a vicious rumor that's going to make you look fully evil. This could spin out of your control fast. If she takes it to HR, it might be very bad for you. They're unlikely to believe you if your excuse is, she started it. Yet another post that makes me wish we had a "you're not the a-hole for what you did, but you sure were dumb" judgment. Did the verbally abusive doctor deserve a taste of her own medicine? Sure. But making fun of a pregnant woman's appearance is one of those instant crap list things. It doesn't matter who was actually right or wrong. Everyone is going to shun the person who mocked the pregnant person. Before, she could have gone to HR with a strong case, but now she's going to go into the meeting as the one getting disciplined or fired. Unfortunately, you can't pay bills with moral righteousness. Sometimes you've just got to grind your teeth when dealing with a bad person and go through the proper channels. Plus, the whole idea of, oh, the other person deserved it, more or less flies out the window when other people have to witness the scene. Whether it's in a workplace, on a bus, or at a family event, when someone is an a-hole to you and you respond in kind, everyone else is intensely uncomfortable just so you can get a zinger in. There are ways to deal with a-holes without being one, and if you're in a public place, you owe it to the people around you to not be another a-hole. Everyone sucks here. Honestly, I'm embarrassed for the both of you. Two grown adults making fun of each other's clothing choices? Gosh. Why, oh why, if this doctor continuously harasses, berates, and insults you in front of your workers and patients, have you not escalated this to HR yet? I totally understand why you're so angry at her, and that's why the comment came out, but you really could do so much more to help yourself here. Everyone sucks here. You did make fun of her for being pregnant, not her shirt. Actually, you made fun of her weight while pregnant, so even worse. Info. I feel like there's more. What started the whole "she hates your guts"? And OP replies, "She shouted at me in front of a patient and said I was too dumb to be a nurse. Even the patient told her to chill out. I stuck up for myself, and ever since then, she's been making my life miserable."